Yeah, if you wanted to start with your first initial takeaways on the match.
Yeah, thought that the guys put a hell of an effort in on the day. Thought, in terms of the game plan, our ability to circulate the ball, repress, and stay in their end. I was really happy with what we were able to do in the first 45 minutes. Unfortunately, we weren't able to reward that with a goal, but we talked about staying, locked in and continue to do the job. Obviously, the penalty to start the second half is a gut punch, and they were able to kind of just sit back in and protect a little bit. And, we had a couple moments, made the game a little bit more difficult, but I thought we did a good job again to not give up too much, trying to stretch ourselves going forward. Would have liked us to create a little bit more, but when they're sitting in deep, you've got to. It's going to be difficult to kind of pull them out and get out. I thought we created some good movements and serving opportunities, a couple moments with second ball opportunities, and then not enough to get the result, but definitely not for lack of trying and effort. Really proud of the effort tonight, and it's just tough to walk out of here when you have. I think shots, passes in the attacking half, possession, all the silly numbers that everyone talks about outside of the result, which is the thing that matters. So gutted for the guys tonight, but really happy with their effort and where we continue to keep growing in the league.
John, go ahead.
Hey, Gavin. Really good chances tonight, like you mentioned there. I remember Peter Wilson in the 8th minute on us late in the game. Just couldn't find the finishing touch. We've talked about the clutch gene before. Can you teach the clutch gene? Just how do you, your thoughts on those little moments that don't go our way?
Yeah, it's football, and it hasn't been. It's been going the other way. To your point a little bit, I don't think you necessarily teach them. You just keep on doing the right things, and then the things start to fall your way. I think we continue to work and get ourselves in the right spots. Again, it's a derby and it's a tight one, so there wasn't many chances either way. It's a street fight, and so I thought we did enough to at least come out with a point. Sometimes it doesn't happen, especially when things are tough. But I think it's. I think our guys are resilient. I think they have character. I think the performance that they'll take out of this and what they were able to get done will help us take a step forward in the right direction. I think they'll be proud of the performance if we're really frustrated with the result.
Hi, Coach. So big game coming up in about a week. What main adjustments, if any, do you feel like you're going to make going into the next game? And I guess what is the biggest thing, the message you're going to tell the team, specifically going to training in preparation?
Yeah, I think, it's going to be another street fight. San Antonio, we know how they play. They've been doing well every week in this league this season. It seems like, everything is going to be tough and there's no walkover. So I think we continue to preach our message. I thought we were really good defensively tonight. I thought, we can always be better in creating some more chances. They're going to be a tough team. And I think, our ability to fight, win second balls, and start to impose ourselves on the opposition is something that we continue doing. And, we continue to do that. I think the results are going to turn our way, especially. So pretty soon. So, I think, like I said, there's matches where we come away and you lose and you're not happy with the performance. This one's a tough one because I was happy with everything the guys done and what we've been doing in the league recently. So we have to continue to keep ironing out the details.
What's the state of the rivalry these days? Last year, it seemed like it was getting a little chippy between everybody and the first match to the second match. How does it keep its shape, basically, with all the new players coming in? And is that communicated, within the team if this is a special opponent? And
yeah, I think we saw them in preseason, but everybody knows about the history of the two clubs. Obviously, the proximity, and I think you probably saw it today. It was a bit of a street fight. A lot of stuff that again, for some reason, they're able to seem to get away with that. We are we're not, but we got to fight through that stuff too. That's also Oakland. So, if we have to sometimes do it against more, then that's what we're going to do. And I'm, proud of our resiliency. It's always going to be a street fight with us and them. We're immediately gonna look forward because there's a bitter taste in our mouth from this one for sure. So we've got to get right back on, and there's another street fight in San Antonio, but we will see them again.
Speaking of Oakland, I want to shift focus a little bit. As the Oakland Roots are some of the few professional teams left in the city, and with the A's, Warriors, and Raiders all departing, what does it mean to you to coach one of the few professional teams that are still here? And how does it feel to play that in the Coliseum as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit. It's an amazing, obviously, opportunity. I grew up supporting these teams. I know how much sport means to Oakland, and how much sport in Oakland means to the Bay Area as a whole. So, as a young fan, I was fortunate enough to be able to play in this stadium as a player, and now to be able to coach and work to bring the joy here is an unbelievable responsibility, and it brings us a lot of pride and joy to do it. So I mean, I can't, it's tough to put in words, but I keep trying, and I'll just keep rambling on until.
John.
Gavin, it's still early in the season, but about almost a third of the way through. Does it feel like you guys have to, start getting results?
Yeah, I mean, we know we need to get results. This was a big one. I think we're, obviously being able to pick up 6 points in the last two matches is helped. But every weekend is going to be a street fight, is what I'm saying in the West. And so I think, we've taken the right strides over the last few weeks to make sure that we're ready and we're prepared for that. And hopefully, like we said, these, little details, little rolls of the ball, little bounces continue to turn. I mean, yeah, we've the last three losses we've had, if you look at the numbers, we've outplayed our opponents. We've had more of the ball. We've created more chances. So that is good. And I think over time you'll expect to win more of those games than you don't. So we continue working, and I think the guys see the progress, guys see the process, even though it's not turning over in results as consistently as we like right now.
One last one.
Okay. Just want to talk about Bobosi. He's really seemed to make an impact in the midfield with his play, how you could operate. Just talk about him, what he brings, and how you like to use him.
Yeah, I think Bobos brings the ability. Obviously, he can cover ground on both sides of the field. His ability to break lines, both on the dribble and with the pass, I think is something that helps and adds a little bit of a different dimension to our game. He's rangy as shit. He runs all day long, and in addition to being able to cover ground, he can also spray the ball over different parts. So it's been good. I thought he was good today. I thought Tyler was good today. I thought our midfield was really good today in terms of being able to stop the repress and their transition moments, which we know they're very good at. They have a very, very talented front three / front five, and they can get at you quick. And I thought the work in the midfield from both Bobos and Ty was really, really good on the day.
All right. Thanks, guys. The captain, Tyler Gibson. Tyler, if you want to just start with your overall thoughts on the performance tonight from the team.
Yeah, obviously very frustrated about the result, but like we talked about, this was a different performance from the team. Told the guys that, and I felt like it was mutual in there, but like very proud of how everybody fought. We didn't feel like they had much of anything. They didn't create much. They got a penalty, which in my mind, I don't believe it was a penalty. But that happens. But overall, feel like we're moving forward in the right direction. We created a bunch. We created enough to get a couple goals ourselves. And yeah, there's been other losses this year that we've not had the same feeling when we went back and ripped into people, and all of us, like the effort wasn't there, the attitude and everything wasn't there, but that wasn't the case today. So no, overall, proud of the performance from the guys, but extremely frustrated at the result. And I feel like we're moving in the right direction, though. That's the minimum now.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
Yeah, like you mentioned there, that it was, even though it's a loss, there were some encouraging moments. Just how close do you think this team is right now?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question because it's been a rough start. And I know we're frustrated. Fans are frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. The organization is frustrated. But I think there were a lot of positives today against a strong team, a derby match. And I think we're close. We created the chances. We got to put those away. But yeah, I think things are coming together. I think we're getting more of an identity. I think we're fighting better. We understand the minimum requirements and the non-negotiables. And I feel like the group is coming together more. So it's been a lot of internal stuff, a lot of internal talks, meetings, fighting and training, and I think we're now moving in the right direction.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask you something. I asked Coach Glidden earlier, but the Oakland Roots being some of the few professional teams in Oakland, can you explain to me like the significance of what it means to you to play for the city of Oakland and also in Coliseum? Yeah, no, I mean, me not being from here, but I did play in San Francisco back in 2017, so I know a little bit of the history, and I do have family here in San Francisco Bay Area, and my time here and being around the organization, being around the fans, meeting with some of the fan group leaders, and seeing that passion, it means a lot to me. And learning more about the history of Oakland and all the teams leaving, and just the kind of mentality that is portrayed here in Oakland, it's a lot like I feel like where I'm from, like just and how I grew up, very blue collar, very just grinding out things. It's not always pretty, but you got to get the job done. And so I can relate to that, and that means a lot. And you see the fans out today. We have not been good enough this year and gotten the results and points, but like I said, it's a long season, and seeing all the support still come out and being around us, it still means a lot. And I know the guys feel it. And so that's something that we don't take for granted. So we're lucky to be here. We're lucky to be one of the few teams left in Oakland, and we want to do it right, do everybody right here. Yeah.
What are some of your strategies for bouncing back from a loss and getting the team in the right mindset for next week, especially with such a big game coming up? Yeah,
I think it's different than how we bounced back from the last loss, because that was not a good performance at all. So that was a little bit different talks in the locker room and in training this week and everything. But I think taking on a performance like this can bring a lot of positives, and yeah, I think the game is a lot about confidence, right? And I think we can take a lot from that, and know, like, I really believe that guys are getting on the same page of, first of all, getting on the same page, but then like tactically, but then mentally, like knowing what it takes to actually win and get those shutouts, get victories on the road and at home. they're coming, and we're right there. And so I think we go in with the same mentality, not get too high with the highs and low with the lows. But this was a different performance and it's going to be different mentality things than the last one. And we won't have any of the last ones anymore. So we'll be bouncing back from things like these now.
Yeah, sorry, Michael. You talked about, some of the internal talks and, a few weeks ago, a month ago, we talked to Hackshaw. He was very, emotional, very spirited in his talk. Just what can you say about, the vibe in the locker room and the motivation that you guys are feeling?
Yeah, I would say, it's been a lot of ups and downs this year. We think we get a win. And I think that's what this is my first year here, but knowing players and hearing about different things in previous years, just like you go away to a top team and get a win, and then you come back and play like a lower league team, and then you get a loss. Like those are the kinds of things that we have to sort out, and that's a culture thing, and that's like understanding that look, every game is a game. Like you see it all in world football everywhere. Like you have to show up, like no matter who you are. If you don't, like you can lose. And so that's what we've been working on the most, I feel like, is getting that culture, knowing that every day matters and every day in training matters. Every session, every little session inside of the training, it all matters. And like you can't just flip it on and off like a switch. And so I think getting the guys on board with that has been one of the biggest things.
I'm interested in the linkage between the offensive part of the club and the defensive club. You're right in the middle of that. What can you do to also help on the offensive side and bring in more goals?
Yeah, I think me and in this game, Bobo, can continue to work on getting on the ball more and feeding the guys up top instead of always looking to go around them or in behind them. I think we did a little bit of that today, but I think we can continue to do better at that. Continue to feed them. One of us always joining in. I think I'm more of the one that holds and sweeps up if we turn the ball over and keep it in their half. But I think we can continue to making sure that one of us is getting up there and getting in the box and make sure we suffocate them and not let them out. So, and continue to get more chances that way. And if we do turn it over, how quickly can we win it back up in higher positions? So I think that's one thing that us as being in the midfielder position can help out for sure.
And you give them the freedom to go do their thing as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
John, one last one.
Yeah, just last question. Like you mentioned in the midfield there with Babosi, you two seem to really have a connection there and really solidifying things in that midfield. Just what can you say about Babosi, things you've learned about him and how he plays?
Yeah, no, he's been a great addition to the team, and it's taken, he hasn't been here that long. So I'm just trying to been hanging out with him a little bit more off the field, getting to know him, build those connections because it all is important. But I think he brings a lot of, he reads, he covers the ground really well. He puts in the tackles and plays simple, I think. And I feel like that's my game as well. And so I feel like just understanding between us of, all right, I'm going to maybe sit a little bit more and he has the freedom to go a little bit higher and help out there. I think getting on the same page with that, and just because I feel like a first couple of games, we were like trying to like realize, okay, I'm going to step or you're going to step. And I think now that we're getting that relationship down, we don't have to talk it out as much and we just can react more. So I think that has been one thing, is just getting to know the tendencies of each other and where we need to shift to, where we need to slide to, and when he can step higher, or if I have to step higher, him holding in and stuff. So all those little minor things are important to getting to know each other, and it can take a little bit of time to build that relationship with each other.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.